Blog Talk Radio.
10, 9, ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
I thought Europe was a country.
As the name suggests, you should not use a normal flute embouchure here. For this technique, we need an embouchure as used on the trumpet. Press the lips tightly together and exhale strongly. It might help if you imagine to push the support outward, but keep your throat as relaxed as possible. The shape of the mouth and the tension in the lips will determine the pitch of the sound. You can practice without flute. Imagine that you are playing the trumpet and try to play different pitches or small melodies.
I have a bad case of diarrhea.
私はひどい下痢です。
I have a bad case of diarrhea. I have a bad case of diarrhea.
I have a bad case of diarrhea. I have a bad case of diarrhea. I have a bad case of diarrhea. I have a bad case of diarrhea. 肩に手を乗せ I have クロスして a bad case お腹をさすって of diarrhea.
And now let's get back to talking about John's butt. It's Lock and Load Radio with John and Andy Moroney.
Sauce on your fancy rug, and you don't give a shit. I've been holding with the force on night, and it ain't no federal crime.
Public service announcement.
Keys to your daddy's Corvette, and just bring it back sometime. Darlings, yes, the truth it's just so plain to see. I like you better when you've been drinking.
You can fade it out. Fade it out on number 5. There you go. I do. Check your cable. Check your cable on the back of the mic. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah,
there you go. Yeah, I'm always the one with the short.
I can't hear Dan either.
And
hello.
Yep.
Same
okay, two shorts.
Shorts.
Yes, this is the Beavis and Butthead show. Yes. Butthead show. Listen, John.
It's not.
John did that intro all by himself and said, and he was in the middle of 16 things at work, and he was like, I have to come in to see the reaction to my intro.
It was a
like,
public service
really?
intro. I taught you.
God.
I taught you how a new technique for playing your flute.
I don't have a flute.
That was the trumpet embouchure, right? and then for our Japanese listeners, if they have a bad case of diarrhea here in the U.S., now they know how to say it.
Oh my! All right, you want to do the other intro, please? It is the February 25th edition of Lock and Load Radio. We are joined in studio by the fabulous Mike Doherty and the awesome Dan Blasberg.
The boys are back in town.
The opinions on tonight's show do not reflect any organization or individual that we may or may not affiliate with. The opinions on the show are just ours. Thank you.
When have we ever been organized?
I'm just saying. Go, John.
Well, we are broadcasting live from Lily Bear Studios in the bustling metropolis of Centerville, Maryland, in the vast, and I do mean vast cultural wasteland that is Queen Anne's County, behind enemy lines in occupied Maryland, Marylandistan, the Democratic People's Republic, otherwise known as the home of
the fee.
Although we hope, as we always do, that will change very, very soon. We have much to talk about. Much has happened in the state of Maryland. Are you Going? Okay. All right. Bug out then.
Bye, John.
Be that way. You didn't tell them about your adventure last week. I told them. Why weren't you on the show last week, John?
We have video.
We do have video.
We have the world's largest.
After 9, you'll be back after 9. Fair enough.
John says he'll be back after 9. Everybody.
All right, we're holding you to it. So, is the good doctor in there? Oh God, I don't want to. So anyway, Monday I spent. Well, Sunday was my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Happy
We're all in
birthday.
this crazy house together.
I know.
Happy
We didn't
birthday
get to
to
go
you.
for cocktails this year, though, because we weren't all downtown. So it was
I
kind
was
of
going to say there was no ice. No, I did the ice shooters
There
at
was-
the end of session. I didn't do that.
that was Signy Die. You gave them to me for my birthday,
Yes,
and
but we didn't use them until Signy
right
Die.
because you had to freeze them. They had to be
Yes.
frozen, and there wasn't time. So, as a matter of fact, my friend Mike gave me last year silicone
Implants.
shooter. It's
Yeah,
a
okay.
mold for you put ice in it and makes shooter glasses. So,
Well, yeah,
you put
you-
water
But you
in it
will-
and it becomes
Yes,
ice.
yes,
shooter
you
glasses.
implant water in them and they become ice.
at any rate, so
I don't know what you were thinking.
Monday night, I had John and I were very, very privileged to attend the investiture of Kathy Vitale. Sad to lose her as a fine delegate, but she is now Judge Kathy Vitale in the Anne Arundel Circuit Court. And it was just, if you haven't seen the pictures on my Facebook, go look, because there's one picture there where she's got her head tossed back and she is just gleeful.
There is just a beaming smile on her face.
Oh, I mean, it was so nice to be there for something that she's wanted for so long and worked for so long. And I was so honored to be a part of it. So, of course, the governor spoke at her investiture, which is actually fairly unusual. They don't usually turn out for investitures. The governors don't. But Governor Hogan did. And, of course, Boyd Rutherford was there. And the fabulous Kelly Schultz and David Craig and Senator Wayne Norman and Tony O'Donnell and Jerry Walker, and there were other people. I know I'm forgetting something, but all her staff were there.
Mhm.
So that was kind of neat.
I didn't realize that a friend of ours, Julia Pitcher, Wooster, her grandfather
Correct.
was
On a judge on the Anne
Yes.
Arundel County Circuit. Yes.
so.
She comes from a long line of the law. So that was really fun. And then I forget what I did last night. Actually, I think I went into Annapolis yesterday and hung out in Annapolis for a while and was just really happy to be in my old stomping ground and got to help out a delegate and did what I could for them, and maybe that'll, they'll need me and maybe they won't, but I had a great time. I've forgotten how addicting it is. So we have much to talk about.
Where do you want to start?
Well, I guess for me personally, the biggest news in my stack of stuff is that they found Chris Kyle's, who's the American sniper, they found his killer guilty of capital murder. For whatever reason, and I wasn't able to ascertain why, they took the death penalty off the table. So he has been sentenced to life in prison without parole. And okay, you're posting in MD shooters.
Well, I am producing tonight, so it would be
Okay,
the right thing to do, now, wouldn't it?
you're hired.
He's doing his job.
Permanently. So anyway, according to the New York Times, with the death penalty off the table, the verdict that Mr. Ralph was guilty of capital murder left him facing only one possible sentence, which was life without parole. Mr. Ralph shot Chris Kyle and Mr. Littlefield in the back on February 2nd, 2 years ago. Actually, just over 2 years ago, at a gun range. If you haven't seen the movie, please go see the movie. It's awesome. About 100 miles southwest of Dallas, after his mother had asked Chris Kyle to befriend her son because she was concerned about him. After serving the Marines, Mr. Ruth received a diagnosis of post-traumatic stress disorder and psychosis, and relatives testified that he had been suicidal and paranoid in the months before the shooting. Of course, for those of you who have not seen the movie, he used Chris Kyle. It was also known, insurgents nicknamed him the Devil of Ramadi.
Yes.
Ramadi. The killer used two of Mr. Kyle's, of Chris Kyle's handguns to shoot Chris and his friend, whose first name has escaped me, but his last name is Littlefield. It turns out he spoke, the murderer spoke of fearing for his life and believing that they were going to kill him, that Chris and Mr. Littlefield were going to kill him or take his soul. He said that Mr. Littlefield was not shooting at the range and that's what got me riled up. He said he was offended that Mr. Kyle had not shaken his hand when they met, was bothered by the smell of cologne in Mr. Kyle's truck, and was annoyed that the two men did not talk to him on the drive to the range. But apparently there was some texting going on between Chris and his friend. They knew something was a little off about this guy, but I don't think they ever anticipated that it was quite as off as they thought. Prosecutors portrayed Mr. Ruth as a callous killer who stopped at the Taco Bell shortly after fleeing the scene, and who knew his actions were wrong, a crucial part of the legal test of insanity. He went on to make bizarre statements that he believed the people around him were half pig, half human, and that his co-workers at a cabinet shop were cannibals who wanted to cook and eat him. These the random statements made throughout the lifetime of this guy. Hours after the killings, Mr. Ruth had been handcuffed and placed in the back of his police car. He told officers that he was paranoid and schizophrenic. Well, even the doctors testified.
Yeah.
If you're paranoid and schizophrenic, you don't acknowledge that. You don't say to police, "I'm paranoid and I'm schizophrenic." This is like a tip off. And one of the doctors even said he was showing his hand. He was looking to get out of what he was done. Of course, they said he wasn't, and they produced a doctor. One doctor, there were three doctors testified. One doctor that said he was in a state of psychosis at the time, and he believed that that the killer believed that there were pig assassins sent to kill him, even though he drove to Chris Kyle's house, I believe. Yeah. He also claims that part of his problem is that he was sent on a humanitarian mission in Haiti, where he had seen the bodies of dead babies there, and they proved in court that had never happened. So, yeah, guy is nuts.
So the first name of the friend is Chad, and I thought I remembered that, but Raymond confirmed it in the chat board too.
Thank you. So, so good. He's going to jail. I mean, I'm sure there'll be an appeals process, but it looks pretty. I mean, from the New York Times article, such as it is,
cut and dry.
Yeah, it does, and just freaking throw away the key. Frankly, I don't know why they took the death penalty off the table for an American hero, but they did. So what are you going to do? So that was the most significant thing for me in my pile. Let me just go through my little pile here and see what else we got. Oh yes, the Veterans Affairs Secretary, Bob McDonald. Good Lord. If you haven't heard about this, hang on. This is according to...
With both hands.
This is according to... Hold on, let me find out. What? This might be from the Military Times. Yes, it is.
The link I sent you to the Military Times or Marine Times.
Yeah, it's the Military Times. So I always try to give attribution. So I watched the video on this thing. It is alleged that it was alleged until I saw the video that the Veterans Affairs Secretary Bob McDonald was speaking with a homeless person. It turns out to be a homeless vet, and the voice from beyond, thank you.
You're welcome.
It'd be fine if I could get a job, then I could take the house off the market. Anyway, the false claims that he claimed to this homeless vet that he was in special forces, and I thought to myself, he could have said a number of things that taken out of context. I mean, I'm loath to hang people up to dry unless they really did it. And I watched the video. Did you see the video?
He did it.
There's no question.
Yeah.
Shook the guy's hand. And he said, "Are you a veteran?" He said, "Yeah." What branch? And he said, "I guess Army." And he said, Sorry, Special Forces is Army, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
each of the services typically has a Special Forces component. Most people in the general public assume that Special Forces means the Army.
Right.
Okay. So I'm pretty sure he was talking Army because Mr. Secretary Bob McDonald stuck out his hand and said, "Oh, I was in Special Forces. What years?" That was the entire.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, there can be no. So his quote is, "I apologize to anyone that was offended by my misstatement." Well, that wasn't a misstatement. You said something you knew wasn't true. Do you want? Oh, you've got tea. Okay.
Let the spin begin.
Yeah, I have great respect for those who served in our nation in Special Forces. They and all veterans deserve a Department of Veterans Affairs that provides them the care and benefits they've earned. What really upsets me about this is that the leaders at the VF national headquarters of VFW quickly dismissed all this and said, that noting that McDonald was trying to make a connection with the homeless vet and his Special Forces qualified. Well, then that's what he should have said. I don't know why VFW is making excuses for this guy. It doesn't.
No, I
doesn't make
don't
sense
even
to me.
think he was Special Forces qualified.
No, I think his record showed 82nd Airborne. But
Well, they do go on to
that simply
say
says that he was airborne qualified. That doesn't mean
Right.
he's Special
82nd
Forces
Airborne.
1975 West Point graduate. McDonald spent 5 years in the Army, assigned primarily to 82nd Airborne Division. He graduated jump school and Army Ranger training before leaving the service in 1980 at the rank of captain. But he never served in a Ranger unit or as part of any U.S. commando service, and false claim of Special Forces service routinely rile veterans groups that see the resume lies as a form of stolen valor. And I got to tell you, I understand that.
Actually, I'll take it one step further. I think it's worse than stolen valor. Typically, stolen valor are folks that have never served at all, and they're very quickly pointed out to be idiots. This is, kind of almost more. It would be like me saying, "Well, I'm a veteran of the United States Marine Corps, and I served in combat when I didn't." Right. That's the way I kind of take it. I mean, I was a rear echelon when I was in, but well, actually, no, I would be called a REMF or a POG. So POG, P-O-G, person other than grunt, or REMF, rear echelon, mother.
I got you, because it's not 9 o'clock yet.
Yes, yeah. But it would be like me taking credit for something that I didn't do,
Well,
and
it's just a lie.
Yeah, the fact that he's in the position that he is in, and the group that he is supposed to be working for, and to be the chief advocate for, to stretch the truth beyond what it needed to be, just to get a feel good soundbite is BS.
Yeah, and Perrin's right. Misstatement, misspoke, misremembered. Why couldn't he just say, look, you know what, I was trying to make a connection with this guy, and I went too far. Well, why couldn't he? I mean, that would be more honest than I apologize. I apologize to anyone that was offended by my misstatement. If my daughter walked in this room and told me that she made a misstatement of something she knew was false, we would be having a long conversation about what actually is a lie.
Well, the other part of his of his excuse also was that he was trying to connect with the veteran.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, don't lie to connect.
Well, that's what VFW
Simply
said.
saying I'm a veteran is a connection to a veteran.
Ding, ding, ding.
I served in the Army as well. When were you there?
Yeah.
I gotta wonder. We got a friend that lives up on Ken Island that was Special Forces, and I've got to wonder how offended he is.
He hasn't. I haven't seen him chime in on the subject yet.
He might not.
Or
I don't know.
Or his better half.
Yeah. So
they're both been quiet on that.
I always think his better half is probably going to have the louder opinion on that one.
Yeah.
She will.
Oh yeah.
God love her.
Yeah, God love her. So anyway, but yeah, I mean, I read this article, and like not everybody, but like all these veterans groups are defending him, and I'm like, defending him nothing. He needs to be doing his job. Don't defend him to make him do nice things for you. He's got a job to do.
Right.
And if he's out there telling lies, call his ass on it. Because if you don't, then you're not standing up for the very people you represent. So anyway, that really ticked me off. So military analyst Michael Lyons said that there's no question McDonald's comment about Special Forces was wrong, but it shouldn't be taken out of context of the video. Before we get the pitchforks out and try to say it's the same as Brian Williams saying he almost got shot, it's not even close. Nobody said that. Nobody. I mean, I didn't read this article and go, "Gee, this is like Brian Williams." I read this article and went, "Oh, great! The Secretary of Veterans Affairs is a liar."
Yeah, I read the article and literally the first thought was, "Okay, so great. The guy that's in charge of Veterans Affairs is a lying piece of crap."
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
Which means if I can't trust a simple statement made on the street,
right,
how can I, as a veteran, or I who support other people that served and earned a hell of a lot more benefits than I did,
right,
are going to get protected by the organization that's supposed to be there to watch out for them?
Right. And in other news, Maryland, this is according to the Washington Times, essay, written by S.A. Miller, not to be confused with Emily Miller, who we will be talking about this evening.
Woohoo.
Maryland joins gun rights trend after election of Republican lawmakers. Wayne Norman has a bill that I believe we've all worked on in a certain office. Bill working right through the General Assembly would make self-defense adequate justification for trying to obtain a CCW. Under current law, applicants qualify only if the Maryland State Police investigation finds a good and substantial reason to carry a handgun, including the determination that the permit is necessary as a reasonable precaution against apprehended danger. And I'm not going to preach to the choir. I'm just telling you that's what it says. Okay, you guys all understand what the problem is.
Ooh. Me next. After you're done, because this is a perfect lead into me next.
Right. Quote, the only way basically to get a gun permit is to say you carry large amounts of money, said State Senator Wayne Norman, the bill's author. It seems like a charade to me. Well, we've been saying that for how long?
Ever.
Yeah. So since Dombrowski was president of MSI, that's when I got involved in it. So, so anyway, good luck, Senator Wayne Norman. I wish you nothing but the best. I hope to support you. However, as segue to Dan's piece, let me just tell you what Vinnie DeMarco had to say. Quote, no bill to weaken Maryland's gun violence prevention laws are going to go anywhere this year. Nowhere. None of them are going to pass, said Vincent DeMarco, president of the board of directors, Maryland's to prevent gun violence. Quote, Maryland's law has been approved by the courts and it's working, end quote. It's been approved by a court. Is that correct?
It's been approved by a court. It's not been approved by the courts. It's not been approved by the court that Vinny, Mr. DeMarco, keeps spouting about.
Didn't he mention something about it's been approved all the way up through the Supreme Court or something along those lines?
He made that mention twice today. For those that have been paying attention to in Maryland shooters, and even those that haven't, about 8 o'clock this morning, Vinny was on WMAL this morning.
MAL or BAL?
MAL.
Okay.
I was wrong when I first played it. It is MAL.
Okay.
So yeah, Brian and Chris did a decent job of hammering him on self-defense for good and substantial reason. And I've got a couple excerpts from that since we're not allowed to actually play it. So
yeah,
I've
but you can go
it.
to WMAL's webpage and click on what was the name of the show? Brian.
I'd have to look at it again.
Okay.
It's on YouTube also, and there's a link to it already posted in Maryland Shooters.
There you go. Okay.
In the Vinny thread.
All right. And if you can't get to Maryland Shooters or you don't have a member, whatever you need, just grab me on Facebook. Go ahead.
So, couple of nice excerpts from Mr. DeMarco. Let's see. We'll start at the minute and 4-second spot. Maryland has done a good job of allowing Maryland State Police to see who should be allowed to carry guns. That's per the 1972 law. Now, to the remark that we were talking about for courts, that he goes on to say that the Supreme Court of the United States has affirmed Maryland's Firearm Safety Act. Well, actually, Vinny, if you're listening, and I doubt you are, the Supreme Court has done no such thing.
Too chicken.
It hasn't even gotten there yet.
No, it never made it there.
The other side of the story.
Of course he doesn't.
Why let the facts get in the way of a good story?
Well, that's Vinny. Anyway, yes, the Fourth Circuit overturned it. They applied for a writ of cert to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court never approved the writ of cert. That does not mean that the Supreme Court has approved the finding. Let's see. At the 2:30 mark, the majority of people support the Firearm Safety Act. The gun lobby failed to take it to referendum. And as everybody knows, the gun lobby has lots of money. So because the gun lobby failed to take it to referendum means that they support the bill.
Right.
Um,
First of all, and we talked about this off the air. We,
we don't take constitutional rights to a referendum.
It's written in the Constitution. Why do you need the people to vote on it? We were born in the. It's just. I mean, there are other arguments which Dan will get into in a minute, but we do not. It's like saying, well, let's take a vote on the right to free speech.
Okay.
I mean, really? We do that? No,
No.
we don't. We don't.
So let's see.
So anyway, there were other arguments about that.
Let's see. He said there were polls that showed overwhelming support for the Firearm Safety Act. He never quoted which polls.
Yeah.
He mentioned the Washington Post article that called out the governor.
Hatchet job.
And
John Wagner's hatchet job. And it was a hatchet job.
It was a hatchet job. He went headhunting, and I think he failed miserably. I actually like how the governor handled that.
and his protege in the in the press room on Tuesday failed miserably too.
Yes.
Yeah, she tried real hard. Couldn't get it though.
No, and along with that, he also mentioned that Hogan had said he would not weaken carry laws. I don't remember the governor actually saying that during the campaign. I do remember him saying that he wouldn't be able to overturn any of the gun laws, which is true. He doesn't have the support.
We don't have. We need a majority Republican legislature.
Let's see. Here you go. In reply to a question of why money and not for self-protection, Vinny replied at the 5:40 mark, someone that works for a bank and delivers huge amounts of money is what the good and substantial reason is for. You and I had a discussion about this. Those people are called security guards.
No, or armored guards. And
Armored
I believe
guards
they have their own separate section within that particular portion of code.
Yeah, well, not only in that particular portion of code, but also on the application, and their own standards. Yes. So, hey, Vinny, wrong.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, Vinny and his ilk are of the opinion that if Vinny DeMarco says it, it must be so.
King of the soundbite.
Still waiting for my banner that says, if Andy Maroney says it, it must be so.
Well,
I mean, it's the same logic.
You know, I know places where we can make that banner.
I know a few places myself. So,
oh my God,
let's see.
He does live in a fantasy world. You're right, 2A.
Yeah, pretty much. Let's see. The rest of them are the people of Maryland want the law that was enacted in 1972, referring to the carry law. Okay. My favorite at 7:10 when he was asked,
7 minutes and 10 seconds.
7 minutes and 10 seconds. He was asked if the law was passed by the people's representatives, as John put it to him. Would Mr. DeMarco's organization support that law? To which he replied, the bill isn't going to pass. I can assure you there will be no weakening of the permit to carry law is going to pass in the legislature. He can guarantee it.
He can guarantee it, yeah.
Okie dokie. Everybody needs to remember that little excerpt over the next couple of years. And every time we see Vinny, we need to remind him once it gets changed.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
So,
going on, he said there was a 20% drop in gun deaths since the Firearm Safety Act was enacted.
According to what, though? I'd like the source on that.
So would I.
There's a couple of folks in the chat room who would like his sources too.
Well, now, mind you, he is saying deaths and not murders. And
so he could be including right. He could be including suicides.
What they always do: suicides and accidental deaths.
Yep.
So I still would like to. I want him to cite his sources. So
well, why would he want to do that? I mean, he gets paid not to. He gets paid to have his little talking points, and nobody, until he gets in front of judiciary, in front of somebody like Mike Smeagol or possibly, I'm praying, Debray, and they go, excuse me, and how do you know that? Exactly. No. I don't want you to get back to me, because that's what he did during 281. Yeah. I'll get back to you with that information.
Oh, I'm hoping. Okay. I'm hoping Robin Grammer will do that to him as well.
Is he on judiciary? I don't think he is.
I
wish he was, because Robin would tear him up.
Robin would tear him up.
So
let's see. The last two are nothing in Maryland law infringes on a right to have a handgun.
Pretty sure he's on Ways and Means.
And then he went on to say that SCOTUS has upheld the gun law. The gun lobby never sent it to referendum, and never brought up and has contended with the fingerprint issue. Well, we still have time to do that in regards to the HQL. And then his last one, his parting comment at 9 minutes, restrictions from carrying guns into churches and supermarkets when the people of Maryland, what the people of Maryland don't want is what the 1972 law did.
Well, what's so funny?
I don't remember. Can anybody cite in the law where it specifically has a place of carry restriction of churches and supermarkets?
I'm fairly sure it doesn't. I can look it up, but
I've looked at it numerous times. As a matter of fact, how many times have we looked at it in a certain office working on a certain bill? I don't remember seeing place restrictions specifically.
I don't either. No. And that's just the thing. Vinny he just says stuff, and it sounds good to the far left or those who are afraid of guns. But here's the bottom line. What these people don't realize is if somebody's carrying in the grocery store, if they've got a CCW license and they're carrying, you're never going to know. The average person is never going to know. Now, the three of us and, the folks listening might know because we shoot.
We shoot, and there's a lot of us that are situationally aware. And
right.
One of the routine scans that quite a few of us do is looking for tells.
But the average soccer mom.
Sheeple?
No, just the average soccer mom,
Sheeple.
It's going to walk through the grocery store and pick up her dinner and for family and grab her paper towels and go through the cash register and probably pass people who already have a CCW and never know.
And I'm fine with that.
And you know what?
That's how
she'll be damn glad they have it if something happens in that store. So, but they don't. We want to look at these things this way. So, anyway. Oh, by the way, I always have to give a shout out to Centerville Liquors because I know they have us on. I was in today buying my bottle of Relax because apparently I get wound up before the show and I need to do that because my friend to my right over here tells me I get to be a nervous wreck before the show.
I didn't say you get to be a nervous wreck.
You said I was. What were the words you used?
Let's see. I think there's some tendencies towards OCD, but
well, I don't want to screw it up.
So, folks, the reference point is I was sitting here at 5:15, and she was already setting up the camera and the microphones and the soundboard.
Well, if something went wrong, though, and I needed to run to the store, or something went wrong, I wanted to be able to, what do you want me to do? Wait until quarter up and then find out we have a major freaking problem when we can't go on the air after you guys have driven out here? Really?
Why would that be any different than some of the other things that we've dealt with in the office?
Well, because you drove all the way out here.
And?
Okay.
It's a fire drill. We've done fire drills before.
Then you'd have to take me out for cocktails.
And you say that like it's a bad thing.
I'm down. Did we open okay? Yeah, I think we did open okay.
Tom, we did fine.
Yeah, we did all right. John was here, so he kind of oversaw things. And now that Mike knows what we did wrong last week, we're in much better shape. So
yeah, Perrin, the camera's always crooked.
The camera is crooked?
Yes, it's a little crooked. It's a little tilted.
Really?
Just like all of our personalities.
Yeah, I was going to say it fits.
I need a new camera, I guess.
No, that one could be fixed a little bit with the tripod. But.
Right. No, I get that, but it's still blurry and it bugs me. So anyway, maybe one day we'll fix that.
So just to backtrack a little bit to go to Vinny's little comment about carrying in a church or anything else. Public Safety 5307 does have some nebulous wording in there, but the nebulous wording is specifically just says the secretary may limit the geographic area, circumstances, or times of day, week, or month, or year in which a permit is effective.
Right.
There's nothing that's specifically called out in statute
that
says any particular location is off limits.
Right. And
there are some things about the state offices, the Capitol.
Right.
I'd have to find the specific section.
Government offices.
In the government section of the statutes, there is some things in there that limit carry. For example, the sheriffs. You'll see the sheriffs are in uniform when they come in if they are testifying, because they're there. Then in their official capacity, they're allowed to be armed. If they're there in an unofficial capacity, technically every law enforcement officer except the members of the Maryland State Police Security Detail and DGS Capitol Police are not allowed to be armed in the state capitol buildings.
Right. And I know CCW holders who work in that building who routinely ignore that. And you know what? Frankly,
I don't care.
I think it's a brilliant idea.
Larry didn't care.
I'm not sure anybody asked Larry, which is probably the smart thing, because you're better to ask forgiveness than permission.
Oh, Larry knew.
Okay.
Larry and I had that discussion.
Perrin says his church asked him to carry. I think
Yep.
I want to go to his church.
I like that.
He's too far away from me, but I think I want to go to. I think I'm going to ask.
I know a couple of churches where they know there are some police officers that are off-duty police officers that carry that are part of their security detail in the church, who know trusted folks that have permits and have said, hey, we'll talk to the pastor. You can carry here too. So I mean, there are places that'll ask people specifically to do it, and it's more surprising than not when it happens.
Sorry, my house is melting. Sorry, I had to poke Andy's OCD. I'm okay.
Don't ask.
It's about the camera being crooked.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thank you, Perrin. Thank you.
It's
Thank you very
Perrin
much.
being one of the guys.
Yes.
That's Perrin being Perrin.
TDT91. Dan, guess what I had for dinner? I don't think I want to know. There are sometimes a girl just doesn't need to know. So
It's not.
it's not what?
Never mind.
What did you say?
Never mind.
Okay. All right. What else you got, Dan?
Let's see. I've got, let's see. Do I start with Pennsylvania or West Virginia?
I don't care.
You don't care?
I'm pouring another glass of wine.
You pour another glass of Ryan. I'll start with West Virginia.
Rhine?
Yeah, Rhine.
Okay, just check.
Well, that's where it's from. It's from the Rhine.
I don't
No?
think so.
No, not that one.
No, not this one.
No.
Actually, it's imported by Schmidt-Sohn, Millersville, Maryland, but I don't see where
Okay.
it's imported from.
Let's see.
But it is a product of Germany.
Okay. Well, then it is possible.
I suppose it is. Hit it, baby.
Okie dokie. It's not 9 o'clock yet.
No, it's not.
I'll leave that one alone. Anyway, on to West Virginia. West Virginia.
Daniel,
Andy.
go. I haven't had enough to drink.
We'll drink more. Pour faster.
Yes, dear.
West Virginia. There's been a bill introduced in their state senate that would allow concealed carry of a handgun without a permit. Wouldn't that be nice?
There's one state in the union that does do that.
There are several states in the union that do that, that have constitutional carry.
I thought it was only one.
No, there are 4 now.
I was going to say, it's, let's see, Vermont, Alaska, Arizona, and...
Oh, wait,
Utah.
I've got an article on Vermont. Hold a second.
So there's 4 already
go.
that have constitutional carry. Interestingly enough, the West Virginia Association of Sheriffs has actually come out against the bill. They come out against it for the simple fact that the biggest reason they say is then it's impossible for them to tell who's legally carrying a firearm concealed.
Standard law enforcement procedure assume everybody is armed until proven otherwise.
Yes. Ding, ding, ding.
So what the hell does that matter?
And as I recall, West Virginia doesn't have a notify clause right now in their carry law.
I'd have to look it up, but I don't think they do.
What did you have for lunch on 2A Tuesday?
Oh, okay. I had my usual. When we go to Ramshead, I had the usual.
You went to Ram's Head?
Yeah, for lunch on 2A Tuesday.
Twice?
Yes.
Okay.
Once for lunch, once for dinner.
All right. Well, apparently you were sitting next to TDT 91.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway.
Is he talking about me in the room in the board?
Yes. What did you do to my chat room?
I haven't done anything to your chat room.
It says you just joined.
Yes, I joined as a test user. I'm doing something to try to help some of the guys out on the boards that are having some difficulties saying that they're trying to chat in the chat, but they can't. So I'm creating some instructions for them.
Okay.
See, so you did do something. That's a good thing.
I'm producing.
That's a good thing.
He's doing his job.
What are you producing? Oh, no. Go ahead.
So that's
not 9 o'clock, dear.
That's the West Virginia portion.
I didn't use any 4-letter words. Jim is probably cracking up.
Yes, yes, you did. You said dear. It's a 4-letter word. Pour faster.
Try this. BMA. Go ahead. So what's the likelihood that that bill's going to pass? The sheriffs oppose it. I'm assuming the state police oppose it.
State police haven't chimed in yet on it.
Get the heck out.
Haven't chimed in on it yet. Really?
That's shocking.
State police haven't come out, and as is normally the case, like here in Maryland, state police here don't come out publicly for or against a bill. They wait for a hearing, and in some cases they just send it in as a written and don't show up. So in regards to a bill, so I'm guessing the West Virginia State Police do the same thing.
The chat room is off the rails.
It's always off the rails.
We're talking about a camera in the little boys' room, bulgogi. The bill covers people. Thank you, Rayman. The bill covers
TDT,
people,
stop that.
The bill covers people who open carry legal in West Virginia and decide to put a jacket on if it gets freaking cold.
Yeah, right now you can open carry without a problem in West Virginia.
So here's a little tidbit. A few years ago, when I worked for a female senator, I was researching a bill for her, and I reached into our counterpart in West Virginia, into the minority caucus in the West Virginia legislature. And so we got to talking. I got the information I needed for the legislation and this and that and the other thing. We got to talking. And at that time, and I don't know that it's the same way now, at that time, it was a Democrat-controlled state legislature. The Democrats, all of them, delegates, senators, got staff and offices. The Republicans, if they chose to be in the Capitol, would meet like randomly in the cafeteria and had no budget for staff.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, what? It confounds me how that's even still legal. So anyway, it was just an interesting.
Yeah, TDT and I got into a nice discussion about Korean food and Korean drink when we were stationed in various places.
There's actually a good Korean restaurant in Catonsville, I think.
Yep, there's still a good one in Catonsville. There's a new Korean barbecue that opened in College Park that's actually not bad.
Really?
Yeah.
Road trip.
Come on over.
Okay.
So on to Pennsylvania. That would be you, I think.
Okay.
That we hear buzzing, but anyway.
Okay.
So last year, the state of Pennsylvania passed a law that made it legal for, let's see, let me get where I need to be. Made it legal for any gun rights group to sue any municipality in the state of Pennsylvania. Now, the kicker to that is,
bless you,
Gesundheit, is that the law also says that if the municipality loses said legal battle, that the municipality must pay the plaintiff's legal fees.
Right.
So I've got two parts to this. First of all, back when this started, apparently the Brady campaign promised via.
Actually, it's not. It's the Brady's
the Brady Campaign Center.
Okay, center. Okay.
So the Brady Campaign Center, apparently through two other organizations, Mayors Against Illegal Guns and Ceasefire PA, said that they would pay for the defense of those ordinances in the cities that were sued if they failed.
All right.
There are currently at least six jurisdictions, municipalities that are under lawsuit. The Brady campaign has backed out of all six and is backtracking and said, nope, we never said that.
We didn't say that. We didn't say that.
So yeah, Brady campaign's backtracking on that. So interestingly enough, in one of those lawsuits, the one in Harrisburg, the judge, Judge Andrew Dowling, issued a preliminary injunction against 3 of the 5 gun ordinances at the center of a lawsuit brought by gun rights group U.S. Law Shield. The law argues that the city's gun ordinances are illegal because they are more stringent than state law. Pennsylvania does have preemption. The group says the city's gun ordinance infringe on the rights of gun owners who aren't doing anything wrong. The judge rulings stops the city from enforcing ordinances that permit carrying firearms in city parks, laws that prohibit possession in public, and those ordinances that stop the sale or transfer of firearms during a state of emergency, and the ordinance that prohibits minors from possessing any firearm, even a pellet gun.
Wow.
Right now, he has upheld the other two ordinances in the lawsuit. Lost or stolen firearms must be reported within 48 hours, and weapons cannot be fired within the city except at approved ranges. So it looks like Harrisburg might be well on their way to losing and having to pay some money in those three.
That's what you get.
Some of the other folks that are up at Erie, Pennsylvania, Radnor, and
one of them got it in writing, didn't they?
Tried to get it in writing, and the Brady campaign would not do it in writing, even though the representatives from Ceasefire PA had pretty much told them that, yeah, we can get that in writing. So it would appear that either the Brady campaign was talking with forked tongue and out a side hole, or
Everybody that's surprised, raise your hand.
Or Ceasefire PA was misrepresenting the Brady campaign, and as we always know, Mr. Bloomberg's group, Mayors Against Illegal Guns, who always talks out their second hole.
Yin yangs.
Yes, anything that comes out of needs to be suspect.
Got it.
So there we go. That's the Pennsylvania and the West Virginia side.
Cool.
So what else you got on your pile over there, Missy?
Actually, I lost the thing about Emily Miller.
Emily Miller got her carry permit.
She did.
Finally.
Yes, she did. I lost the article though. Go
So-
ahead. Mike, you want to talk about that? No. Look at him.
Huh?
Well, I mean, I didn't actually see the article last night. Was actually playing games online with friends, but
What games were you playing?
I was playing on my Xbox, so Destiny and a couple of other things, chatting with friends. But she apparently got her permit, and one of the things that she discussed, I read the article that she posted out. I didn't actually see the segment that she did, but she posted that she got it based upon 2 of the 3 criteria that she listed, the 2 specific threats to her. I had seen there was a comment on our favorite board where somebody had posted that the only reason she got it was because she made I'm a journalist and I'm under a general terror threat. She actually specifically covered that in her article and said that no, she did not get it for that, and they specifically called her on that and said that was too general and therefore would not meet the criteria. I think all of us can sit here and say that yes, Perrin, you're absolutely correct. It is not that she has the actual permit. She has been notified that she will be receiving a permit once she goes through. She's got a permit pending based upon her completing the course through an authorized training provider. And we all know from other folks in the boards, Cypher and a couple of others, that there are very few of those authorized instructors for the city. But she's one of 16. She was permit number 15 notified that it's pending her completing the training requirement. Right. And I think we can all look at it and realize that this is political.
It is.
Well, she has 2 direct threats against her.
Well, yes, and at the same time that there's also at least one article out there. I want to say that the guy's last name is Gutowski. There was a gentleman who applied who had threats against him and was denied. So this one is more of the MPD is really in a tight spot. If they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. If they don't give her one, she's going to go yell and scream as the agent of the press that she has been, shining sunshine on the rats in the sewer. And even if she gets it, well, okay, they gave it to her because she's a political figure and she's out there in the open. So there's really no.
And she's actually a little thing.
Oh yeah, I stood next to her while she was freezing her tail off at 2A Tuesday.
She's 5 foot nothing.
Yeah, she really is. She's just as nice as she could be, though. Boy, was she a nice woman. So Emily got her gun. Well, she's getting her gun. And she's going to go through with the process. At the end of the article, she did say that whether or not she chooses to carry, she's not going to announce.
Is a personal choice that she's never going to discuss.
Right.
So there's a sidebar going between Tim and Perrin in the chat room about in the article they state that DC doesn't require training prior to getting approved. stressing those last ones prior to getting approved. There is still training required. They approve the permit and place it in a pending status for final issuance based upon the training being done. And I want to say that there's the oddity in that law that you're not even supposed to get the training until you've been told you're getting that your permit application
So they made
was
it worse
approved.
than Maryland, actually.
But I'd have to look at it. I think that's in there, but I'm not sure.
No, they actually made it easier than Maryland, because in Maryland we've got to get the training first. Why spend the money? They've actually made it easier in DC. You spend the money on everything up to get the permit, with the exception of spending the $200 for the training.
And they're being sued over that too.
They are. Well, they're being sued over the entire thing.
Well, and then that's the gentleman that I was talking about. I'd have to look at the SAF case again, but yes, Second Amendment Foundation is sponsoring a case for the one guy who went through the hoops and they said nope, denied.
And I've met him and had the opportunity to speak with Alan Gura at an event and speak to him for actually some length of time. And he, another nice guy, freaking brilliant, and not an ugly guy. Got to tell you, yeah, I could have lunch with him again.
And two things from the board. One, Tim brings up that that maybe somebody needs to submit a bill here in Maryland to add the way DC does it. Give them time to get their training before their permit is handed to them. Get the permit approved, and then get the training after it's been approved. Once you give them the proof of training, they hand you your permit.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens here in the next couple months, and then for Perrin, for resubmitting for your instructor application, shoot me a PM or an email. I will put you in touch with a gentleman that is an instructor that had to resubmit, who has the entire story on that.
And Rayman, yeah, money. There are other cases in precedents for other protected civil rights, specifically 1A, where the judge's decisions were based on specifically on the fact that charging people money in order to practice a protected right is an infringement. To date, we've seen the typical 2A, 2-step in just about every circuit in the country, in some fashion or another, where they've basically said, "Oh no, that's not." The worst being the New York City one, where the $350 charge, $350+ charges were, no, that's not an infringement on the right at all.
And that's just to own a firearm in the city.
So.
2A in Maryland is starting the Maryland Mutual Death Threat Society. In order to join, you have to make a death threat against all members and then turn in the person who threatened you so that the other person can get a CCW, I guess. But anyway, I don't think it really works that way, but it's a funny concept. We've got some new members joining us. Wow, awesome. Money infringement. I know, Brooke. Okay. So in Vermont.
Yes.
Somebody brought up Vermont earlier.
Yeah, we did. We
did. We did. Trust me. We did, because I picked right up on it. So according to, actually, I'm not sure this website, but it's posted by Terry Hallenbeck. Was posted today. And it's from a blog, I guess it's called Off Message, Vermont's Politics and News blog. Gun Sense Vermont co-founder Ann Braden conceded Tuesday that her group is unlikely to achieve a goal of requiring near universal background checks for gun buyers, but she expects hope that two other provisions in the controversial gun control bill may still move forward. And I'm skipping ahead. Those provisions would make it illegal. First of all, make it illegal for convicted felons to possess guns under state law as they are under federal law. Well, if it's already illegal under federal law, why do we need to do it that way? I don't understand. Maybe I'm just clueless. Maybe I should drink less wine. But if it's illegal federally,
there's still so illegal federally means that you would have to be charged and then prosecuted federally. So it makes sense. There are still cases. We talk about this on the boards all the time with FOPA. FOPA, the Firearms Owners Protection Act, is the thing that gives us coverage for interstate travel. but you have to be very careful. It's interstate travel. When you are in Maryland, going from Maryland to Virginia, that's not, while it is interstate travel, you're really not, unless you're driving through DC, you're not transiting anywhere. So FOPA really doesn't apply. While you are in Maryland, the Maryland laws apply to you. While you're in Virginia, the Virginia laws apply to you.
Correct.
But it's, you have to look at where the thing's going to be prosecuted. Not being a lawyer, I'm sure our favorite lawyer could probably explain this a hell of a lot better than I can. But
yeah, that's true. We should get him down here. But yeah, I don't get it. I mean, why do we need to duplicate? If you're not supposed to have a gun, if the law says,
but it is, so the key point, if you are, it is illegal by federal law,
right?
But you are arrested by a local constabulary, and you have not done anything that impinges a federal issue, then that local, let's say the local sheriff. Well,
I see what you're saying.
But you haven't done anything that's brought you to the attention of a federal authority. Then the local authority would have to, in order to charge you, would then have to bring in the U.S. attorneys,
right,
to then charge you under federal.
So he hauls your butt to jail and then calls a U.S. attorney. I don't get it. Am I being dense?
It's not necessarily dense. It's just that there's the difference between, we still have states that are delegated certain authority and power.
Right, but here's the thing. But here's my point, right? So I'm a convicted felon. Okay,
Yep.
I've murdered. I've just gotten out of jail, and I was convicted of murdering 17 million people. Whatever. Okay,
it's a good start.
Right. I don't know. I'm just randomly making stuff up. 4 minutes to go. 4 minutes. 4.
And it wasn't either one of us.
Sorry,
No, it wasn't.
Jim.
Nice job.
Sorry, Jim.
But it was at 56 minutes instead of 2.5.
Yes. We're getting better.
We are getting better. So unfortunately, we're that close. Anyway, so I'm a really bad guy. I've been convicted of whatever felony. I get pulled over for weaving, or I get pulled over for suspicion of drugs or whatever. Cop pulls me over, and he's got, all right, I'm speeding. Let's say I'm speeding, but he sees that I have a gun.
Yep.
Okay. Well, then the first thing he's going to do if I'm speeding is go run my record. He's going to call me in, and they're going to say, hey, this person is, a felon and blah, 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 whatever it is.
Maybe not.
Explain.
Not all of our systems are going to show, I've got friends who are cops. Not all of the systems are going to automatically blink up, he's a convicted felon. You might see that if you're in Maryland. So if you have for example, a Maryland cop pulls you over and you have been convicted of something in Maryland.
But if I'm from North Carolina,
it will show up, but not if you're from out of state. If you're from out of state, there may be some stuff that's going to show up in some of the combined databases, but they've got to dig a little deeper to get that. They're not going to get that on the first one. And if there's no active warrants, even if they call you in, if there's no active wants and warrants on you, they may or may not get that information from a dispatcher.
See, I'm thinking less laws are better. And they need to fix. They need to fix their database system.
I agree with you, but there's also the point of where we start talking about state powers versus federal powers, where there are some issues where it is kind of important for them to have something to cover them.
The issue here, Andy, is that yes, it's a federal law that felons can't have firearms. However, if it's not a state law, that sheriff or state patrol officer that pulled you over can't arrest you under state law for having a firearm as a felon. And since they are not a federal agent,
that's not so.
If it's not a state law, they cannot arrest you for it.
You're telling me that the Maryland State Police cannot arrest me for a federal offense?
They are not a federal agent. No, they cannot.
They can tack on. So the state's attorney can tack on charges to you for you, and propose those to the state's attorney. The U.S. attorneys, the United States attorneys, but they can't arrest you simply for a violation. If they could,
I'm thinking
everybody for immigration violations would be picked up for immigration violations, but they can't be.
Exactly.
We have to. So in order for example, a Queen Anne's County sheriff to pick up an illegal immigrant and arrest them for being an illegal immigrant, he has to have some other Maryland-based crime in which to do so.
Correct.
And then he has to refer that person to ICE for potential illegal immigrant functions.
And it goes the other direction. Federal officers cannot arrest you for state or local statutes.
Do you know this, or you think it's a reasonable assumption?
No, it's
Just discussions with friends of mine that are cops.
So I mean,
They
so you
can't-
do know it.
They can't pick you up for the simple act of violating a federal violation.
now if there's a federal warrant out for you, yes, they can pick you up for that.
Sure.
But if again, what we're discussing is going on in Vermont. I don't know Vermont law, so Vermont may already have this as a law, as one of the issues, and it very well could be that these folks are going after something that's already on the books. Not that they would ever do that, Vinny DeMarco.
So your comment about not being arrested in Maryland for manufacturing Uzis, well, Uzis being spelled OOZIES, I don't believe are illegal. But
yeah, exactly.
If we were to take the example of arrested by MSP for manufacturing a fully auto select fire weapon, I do believe that is actually illegal under Maryland law, in addition to being illegal under feds.
It is.
So the second thing this bill does.
Okay, moving on.
As she's frustrated now, wants to go further.
Well,
there's a fix for that.
I think we've beaten that to death.
She said beaten.
I did. It's 9:01.
Yes, it is. I was watching the clock.
Require the state to report to a.
It's all downhill from here.
Drank the bourbon. I should have drank the bourbon.
No, that would have been downhill from a long time ago.
Doobie, doobie, doo.
You always do that, and I never know what that means. Anyway, you've been doing that for years now.
That's the idea.
Require the state to report.
Yes, please.
Require the. Okay.
Problems?
So the Vermont bill would require the state. Stop it. We require the state to report to a federal database the names of those deemed by a court to be dangerous or mentally ill. And my problem with this is define mentally ill, define dangerous. Because right now, you and Perrin are in a lot of danger. Okay. So.
Well, I'm in good company then. So is Perrin.
Yes. So, and
Good
the
night,
other
Frog.
thing is, good night, Frog Man. So the other thing is mentally ill. I mean, we all sat for 281 and watched them wrestle with the definition of this. So I'd be curious.
How many of us were more mental after that?
Well, so it also depends on whether we'd have to read the actual text of the bill.
Right. So,
but if it includes the words adjudicated, then I
Well, that's
technically don't
different.
have any problem with that,
That's
because that
different.
means their due process. They were afforded their protected right of due process.
Right. So anyway, the bill's chief sponsor, Senate President Pro Tem John Campbell, Democrat out of Windsor, Vermont, had likewise conceded defeat on mandatory background checks. But when they were talking about universal, I mean, they meant like if I want to sell you my, I don't know, my Ruger. Okay, a private sale. You'd still have to go to a gun shop and get a background check. He maintains gun rights activists are opposing all provisions of this bill. Vermont. Okay, do I have to read the chat room now? It's not.
Parents fine.
Okay.
Parents safe.
Yeah, for now. Oh! I'm safe at this distance that I have a deer costume. She doesn't have a chance. You know what, Perrin? Okay, I'm not changing the name of the chat room now just for that. And hey, just remember that when you call me again. No, don't stick up for him. Do not.
Perrin, you're too big to be a goose.
Oh, ouch.
So, in other news, what have you got, Dan? What else do you have to talk about? Or did you want me to continue?
Go ahead and continue.
Yeah, I thought so. Keep it up.
I have been.
Oh, God.
Only
Okay.
for you, babe. Only for you.
I think Sue would have something to say about that. So anyway, the Vermont Federation of Sportsmen's Club vice president maintains Vermont is one of the safest states in the nation, has no need for changes in the gun laws. His name is Evan Hughes. Hughes and others see such changes as a violation of constitutional rights to bear arms. I think it's a heck of a lot bigger than that, but okay, that's what he went with. Sears is the one of the advocates. Hold on, let me go back, and so I can tell you who this guy is. Oh yeah, okay. It's in the Senate Judiciary Committee. Its chairman, Senator Dick Sears, Democrat out of Bennington. Okay. Sears is setting out to show that some gun safety provisions make sense. His committee will focus on a single question during a hearing on Wednesday. Should Vermont have a law that prohibit a person convicted of a violent crime or certain drug trafficking offenses from possessing a firearm? But that's not what I got this bill was about. So they do things a little different. We need to have call in who's both an attorney and had participated in parts of the Vermont legislature is Don Murphy. You met Don. He came by the office.
I didn't know that. I remember
he was
Don.
a delegate.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Interesting.
That's not my phone going.
That would be my phone.
You're in trouble with Sue.
No, it's my treasurer.
Yeah. Okay. It's our treasurer.
Yes.
So anyway, I think he's sort of interpreting this bill to be whatever he wants it to be. He said many of his constituents who oppose expanding background checks support the mental health and felon provisions. As for requiring Vermonters who are conducting private gun sales to go to a gun dealer for background checks, Sears said his constituents have been more consistently opposed. You think? Sears said he was convinced that expanding background checks to private sales was a mistake after he visited a local gun shop. Its owner told the senator that if two parties asked him to conduct a background check for transfer of a hunting rifle, he would charge the buyer $45, which seemed impractical, Sears recounted. There's a good reason that Congress left it the way it is, Sears said. Of course, the Gun Sense Vermont woman says she hasn't given up on this. This isn't our last year, so yeah, we'll see where that goes. And in other news, I found the Emily Miller article. Whoops. But we pretty much covered it. So we did. And in other news, the Maryland Transportation Authority failed to verify millions in the red and purple line labor costs and audit fine. So they go through.
Oh, I'm shocked.
I know.
Gee, I think that just adds yet another stick to the pile of organizations that have not properly audited any of their data.
Well, here's how this article goes. It's not me.
It was me again.
Well, stop vibrating.
Stop turning me on.
I'm not sitting next to you.
No, but I've got a good view from here.
So, although MTA had sufficient procedures, stop it, Michael, stop it. Although MTA had sufficient procedures,
He hadn't taken a drink yet.
It's a good thing. And he's just producing tonight.
I'm letting it go. Although MTA had sufficient procedures, this is a quote, in place to approve changes to labor rates, had verified hours worked by individuals, and had monitored the overall progress worked, MTA did not conduct periodic verifications of the contractor's payroll reports, the audit found. Consequently, there was a lack of assurance that the billed rates agreed with the actual labor rates used to pay their employees. The audit does not allege the four contractors filed misleading or inaccurate costs, just that the state failed to properly vet the varying hourly rates per employee that were submitted. That's not me. I don't know what that is. MTA did not dispute the finding or others by the Office of Legislative Audits, including $10 million in overpayments to the Mobility Paratransit Program vendors for fuel, nearly $500,000 in payments of excise tax on fuel that the agency is exempt from paying, a failure to verify the appropriateness of a $24 million change order on a MARC commuter rail services contract, a failure to comply with procurement regulations for sole source contracts, recording bids, and publishing contracts, and an underperforming rate structure for buses, metro, and light rail. The MTA is required to cover 35% By the way, I should give attribution to this. This is written by Kevin Rector from the Baltimore Sun.
I have a question.
Hold on. The audit also found the agency failed to properly oversee eligibility for its mobility program, something advocates for people with disabilities also alleged in a lawsuit recently filed against the agency. The questions about the appropriateness of labor costs associated with the two transit lines come as their overall price is being given a second look. Governor Larry Hogan questioned the project's affordability during his campaign, and both have been under review since he took office in January. It goes on. You can read the article at the Baltimore Sun, but he says, according to Eric Henson, the Transportation Department spokeswoman, Erin Henson, said the company's request for an extension. Let me back up. Construction contracts have not been awarded for either project. Last week, the deadline for bids from companies seeking to build and operate the Purple Line under a public-private partnership, or we call that P3, with the state was extended by 5 months, said Erin Henson. Henson said the company's request for an extension came after Ron asked if they could look for ways to make the projects less expensive. Bids for the red line have not been solicited. Hit it.
Yes, a question from the board. Scotch?
Irish?
No, do you drink scotch?
I don't.
Sorry, Ron. She's a bourbon girl.
I am a bourbon girl. I tried to like scotch. I really did. I like the whole concept of scotch. I really do, but it just doesn't do it. And Perrin, you now owe me a cocktail, or you are not forgiven. Dan, I'll take it out on Dan's hide, but you owe me a cocktail.
Who, baby?
Or you can just show up at Pintail Point and we can go shooting and you can give me some tips and then we'll be even. So,
and you'll still be safe.
So. You're on a roll tonight. What's up with you?
I'm with you.
You're not usually this over the top.
Sure I am.
I don't think so. I want to see Andy do the show drinking some good scotch. No bolts. You won't.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
think
why I asked.
I know. There are some excellent scotches out there. I hear you. I don't like them. Single barrel or otherwise. Yes, I know. The 25-year-old Macallan, I'm with you. I appreciate all of the craftsmanship that goes into a really fine scotch. Believe me. But no, thanks. Yes, drinks at Dry 85. Absolutely. I'm there. March 10th. And if I can figure it out, I'm spending the night. So, yes, I will either be shuttling or walking back. I haven't figured out where I'm staying yet. So, but yes, Dry 85. Actually, we went there after Kathy's investiture. Funny story, guys.
Yeah.
Funny story. So John and I roll in and, I'm talking to various people that I know, both from Anne Arundel County and from the House of Delegates, this, that, and the other thing. I roll up, I talk to Kathy, I talk to her husband, Mark, and her son, Mark Jr., who used to work for us. And, as a volunteer. And, I turn around and guess who's sitting there? Mike Smeagol. I'm like, you rolled right by my house and you didn't even think to call me to say, hey. He goes, well, I didn't know you'd be here. I'm like, you rolled right by my house to come to Annapolis.
And he didn't know that you would be there for Kathy's investiture.
I know, right. So we all tried to go because I was like, oh, we got to go. I was telling John about it for, 2 weeks now. And I told Mike about it and he's like, all right, let's go. So we went down there, closed until whatever time it was for a private event. Go to Red Wine. Well, I don't think I'll ever get my husband back to Red Wine. So he was so disgusted that Mike didn't get the meal he ordered that he was just like, where's the owner? And I was like, the waiter was like, well, he might be next door. What's the problem? He was like, not only did he, meaning Mike, but John said, not only did this man not get what he ordered, but when we sent for you with the little guy that the busboy, you didn't come. And whether he didn't tell you or you just didn't come, and it wasn't that busy. I mean, it was a Monday night, for heaven's sakes. So anyway, I don't think we'll be going back there, but I do want to go back to Dry 85. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
so,
you need to take us. We need to do that.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
I wasn't impressed with Red Wine, other than the company that was there when we went last year.
I don't know why I texted you. I don't know why that text wouldn't go through the way I wanted it to. So
Well, you forget I still have a dumb phone too. So
Yeah, but you're going to do better than that now?
I'm hoping by the end of this weekend I will have come a little bit further into the future.
But that shouldn't have impacted. That should have been your receipt of it, not my sending of it. Anyway.
True.
Long story short. Okay.
So what else?
So T. Smith's asking again, same question we got last week. Any idea on a home base for the tent?
Oh, okay. Guys, remind me. I will we'll talk to Shannon this week, but I'm almost sure it's going to be in the caucus office.
Okay.
I just can't
for both days.
I can't commit that to you guys. So don't everybody start publishing that. But Dan,
okay,
remind me to call, and I will either call Carrie or I'll call Shannon, and we'll get it. We'll get her done.
Shannon, our blonde.
Not only Shannon, you and I both know.
I'll see her tomorrow.
You will?
Yeah.
She's gonna be in town?
Yes. Her and John and I are getting together.
Oh, well, I see where the MSRPA stands. Now you're in the doghouse.
Damn.
I have to change the name of the chat room. Perrin and Dan are in the doghouse.
I thought you would have done that 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. So, actually, I think that's all I've got.
I don't know that I've got anything else.
Mike, you got anything? I know you gave it all to me, right?
I'm assuming that's referring to the fact that I gave her a crap load of show.
He did. He
prep
was a
stuff
great
yesterday.
producer. It was like, God, I got to clean the house today.
I just kept finding stuff going, here you go, here's more.
The doghouse is too crowded. I don't think so. I don't think so.
Need to build an addition.
So, yeah, Perrin was in town on Monday night. We tried to invite him to dinner. But they did have good cheese. They had a really good cheese at Red Wine. So anyway, but yeah, so March 10th. Hope you guys are putting in for leave or sick or whatever.
Already got mine.
Good.
Yep.
Good.
Already got the kitchen pass.
Good.
And the 12th.
Good. If I could afford
Both days now, I just got to do the research on what I want to say if I can actually sit at the table this year.
Yeah, I got to think about that too. So, well, I got to find out. If my organization has got somebody they want to speak, or if they want me to do it, or what.
Okay.
So,
Greg did great last year for being the first time doing that, and not.
Honey,
He did outstanding.
He's a Spalding boy. I expect nothing less from him. He graduated the same year I did from Spalding.
Okay.
I mean, you expected something less? Oh,
I
I'm telling Nolte on you.
I have no clue of Spalding. I'm an Ohio boy.
Yeah, well, guess what? It's where Mark Jr. went, actually.
I'm just a guy who never finished. So
you never finished high school?
Well, no, I did finish high school.
I was going to say.
Yeah. You're in the same boat I am. We started and then stopped.
I did not know that.
Well, let's see. I went to a lovely organization and founded by Thomas Jefferson. And a year and a half into my stay there, they said, I think you need to take a vacation because we don't really like 1.2 grade point averages.
Right. So then, you were in high school.
In high school, and then I went from high school. We're talking about college.
Oh no, we're talking about high school.
Yes,
Spalding is a high school.
We know that. We know that.
I'm so confused.
We've moved on.
Yes.
So
we kept going.
We apparently left you behind.
I'm ex-writer. I do it all, baby. So, and that's all I got to say about that. So, anyway, all right. I think that's it for this week's edition of Lock and Load. Unless anybody else got anything burning that they need to talk about,
not that I
publicly
think of.
Are you going to pick something to take us out, or are we just saying goodbye this week?
I am going to try and do something.
So, Tim, I'll just say it since they both weren't paying that much of attention to that, but just because Andy's trying to do her part of the producing, I'm sure both of them are glad to help.
Let's see if this works. Okay.
You just got to find something.
All right, this is John Maroney
Good
with
night.
Lock and Load Radio on the Free State Radio Network. We are heading to the range, and by we, I mean myself and my beautiful daughter, Lily. Say hi, Lily.
I thought it was appropriate. Hi.
So Lily's going to shoot her .22 rifle, and I'm going to shoot the new CZ75 P7 Duty in 9mm. Looking forward to it. Picked it up last night. Very excited to try it out. And as soon as we head to the range, we'll pick up and let you know how everything went. Lily, you got Any thoughts for us right now?
No.
Awesome. You're a lady of few words. So, all right,
Like
so
her
we're gonna
mother.
sign out and we'll pick up where we left off at the range. Okay, so we're back at the range, and Lily's going to give her a hand at the CZ75. What did you think of your first shot? You have to actually say something. This is radio.
I don't know.
Okay, you want to try to give it a shot now? All right, go ahead. Right.
No, I didn't.
Push the slide in. No, release it right there.
Girl. That is my girl. How happy that makes me.
Yeah, I was trying to take him on
You're
board the
doing
first
all
time I
right.
took them, so.
Same thing with my nephew. Same thing. Am I on? Yeah, I'm on.
Yeah, you're on.
Okay. Yeah, same thing with my nephew.
Shot that whole clip out too. That's my
You're
girl.
empty.
What?
All right, so you shot your first 9mm. Tell me
Have
what
to
you thought of the
correct you.
recoil.
It's a magazine.
It kind of scared me at first.
Did it scared you at first? So, but after your second or third shot, what did you think then?
I got used to it. Like I went right back. I went to my 22 again, and I was just like, I was expecting the recoil.
Yeah. So what did you like better, the 22 or the 9mm?
9mm.
Yeah. You want your own 9mm handgun?
Yeah.
You're a little young yet.
I know.
So would you go back again?
Yeah.
Would you consider shooting a higher caliber, like a 40 Smith & Wesson?
I'm not sure.
No. What's your
Mostly because
concerns?
She didn't know what there was.
That I already wasn't really ready to shoot the 9mm, so I don't think I'm gonna go high.
The 9mm.
No. So what did you think of the CZ75?
It was good.
Yeah.
Sighting was off.
Sighting wasn't off. So, but
Takes
fun
after her
gun to
father.
shoot. I thoroughly enjoyed it. A polymer frame gun, full frame, not much recoil to speak of. Just a really nice gun to shoot. Obviously, I need to get used to the sights a little bit. Maybe adjust them a tad.
Crooked
So
barrels,
that I can
bad
actually hit a
sights.
target now and then. But
Sounds like a perfect opportunity
it was,
to introduce
just a very
holdovers.
smooth gun, very nice gun to shoot. So thoroughly enjoyed it. So this is John for Lock and Load Radio, Free State Radio. Say goodbye, Lily,
Bye.
and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.
That was the summer that Lily was 11. And we'll go out with this.
Setting new standard.
Oh, never mind. It's not what I thought it was. We'll see you next week. Same time, same bat channel, same bat station, same bat time. Bye.
See you later.
Bye.